Okay, guys. So as today, it's Friday night. I'm tired again. That's the theme, I guess, for this month because I'm trying to do that 40 days of videos, 40 days of reverse Lent, I guess. And I'm busy all weekend, so I'm going to film 3 videos in a row. So get ready for 3 videos where I'm wearing this exact same outfit. Yeah, I was feeling very dark and gloomy today, so therefore I put on the Taylor Reputation. If you know anything about that, you know it's all about snakes and being angry or something. I don't really know. I went to the tour. It was awesome. Anyways, let's get started. So, anyways, I found this really cool article. We've read one by this woman before. Let me just show it to you. It's actually I think you recognize her. Okay, so the Fat Dispatch. Yeah, we read this like a few days ago. Amanda Martinez Beck, and I just gotta say, she has like the most interesting articles on her Substack. Just some very, very fat centric things, really fighting for the cause. And she has the best graphics too. I mean, look at this fat euphemisms. I mean, not that I want to support this movement, but I would put this on a t-shirt. Just saying. But yeah, let's read into it. Let's learn about some more fat euphemisms. I want to know if does she have a problem with them? Does she like them? Does she want us to embrace them? Let's figure it out. Because as you know, we are learning about fat liberation and body positivity and fat acceptance, and we got to know what our do's and don'ts are. So join me on this journey. Let's see. Fat euphemisms. If I keep pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry. I think every now and then I skip a syllable. Have you ever used a euphemism for fatness to describe your body? You're not alone. I came out with this list a few days ago, thinking of all the terms I've heard used to describe a large body: chubby, chunky, thick, plus sized, poo sized. Okay. I like that. Big, hefty, husky, large, big boned, heavy, fluffy, more to love. Okay, okay. I think I like chunky, thick, poo size though. That's a winner, I just gotta say. Hefty and husky, classics. Okay. I do not like big bone because my bones are not big. My bones are really small, apparently. I learned that in X-ray. Fluffy, wonderful, and more to love. True. Okay, guys. Let's see what she actually thinks about it. And my kids have added a new one recently, big back. Oh, yeah. I've heard of that one. I'm not sure if this is actually a good synonym for fat or if it simply refers to someone with a big appetite. My 4 kids can't agree amongst themselves, but it's out there in the world being used to describe people. We know that fat has been used as an epithet to harm and belittle, pun intended, those in larger bodies. But in the fat liberation movement, we reclaim this word as a neutral descriptor. Fat, I'm fat, you're fat, we're fat, hooray. You know, it's funny because when they did this, I feel like they were trying to make like a point, but people were saying fat regardless. People were saying other words to make you like to not be offensive to you. But everybody who was being offensive to you was already calling you fat and calling me fat. I mean, I'm included in that. I'm also fat. But I don't think they realize that like reclaiming a word doesn't exist when it's like actually an already appropriate descriptor. It might be feel a little rude. We don't want people actually running around saying that in an offensive way, maybe, but this whole reclaiming of the word, I always found that funny. I just think that's hilarious. Not everybody feels hooray about using the word fat. The trauma with the word runs deep, and I get it. I have zero trauma over the word fat. I mean, do you guys? Does anybody here have a trauma over the word fat? I mean, we all have like maybe that story if you were like a fat kid or you were a little chunky or something and somebody called you fat and it made you feel bad, sure, but I don't really understand why people use these things in childhood to justify their behaviors in adulthood. Like I bring this up all the time, but kids are mean and what happens in your childhood should not follow you into adulthood in some way. I don't know why they're trying to restructure society around it. It seems like it'd be a very simple solution of just how about you work on yourself and you just get over it. I know that sounds a little harsh, but like this infantilization of adulthood that we've like found ourselves in, where you have like 35-year-old women acting like kids, that's just crazy. Like, grow up. Believe me, people 50 years ago were facing way worse things than being called fat. I mean, there weren't that many fat people 50 years ago. That's probably doesn't work in that comparison. But anyways, you know what I mean. My own journey to using fat as a self descriptor is interesting. I started by calling myself a size dignity activist. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Even though I thought of myself as fat, I couldn't bring myself to use the word. Fat just felt so alienating. But that's the power of reclaiming it, right? Turning the expectations of the world on their heads. My friend turned podcast co host, Jay Nicole Morgan, sounds familiar, whom I had met via Twitter, was so patient with me as I played around with the words and meanings of what it meant to live in a larger body. We ended up starting the Fat and Faithful podcast. Ooh. which was around for about 3 seasons, and which you can still listen to whenever you get the podcast at fatandfaithful.com. She gave me such a beautiful example of what it meant to be fat and to intentionally take up space. Her book, Fat and Faithful: Learning to Love Our Bodies, Our Neighbors, and Ourselves, is available wherever books are sold. That's a link to the publisher website. I'm trying to avoid Amazon as much as possible these days. Okay. I wonder why. I eventually started calling myself a fat acceptance activist. It was intimidating to use the label, but in so many ways it felt good. For years, my Instagram handle was at your body is good. But about a month ago, I changed it to something more declarative, the Fat Dispatch. Dun, dun, dun. I have finally arrived at an unabashed label as a fat liberationist. No more beating around the bush. I claim fat and all it comes with. Okay. Maybe you're wondering, what do I call other people in larger bodies? Well, typically I follow their lead. They use plus size or larger. That's what I'll go with. I never assume that someone embraces a fat identity in a positive way unless they explicitly say so. That's part of fat liberation, right? The right to self determination about everything, from taking up space to call oneself what one wants. I do encourage people to embrace a fat identity if they feel they can, though, because part of redefining the term as a neutral descriptor takes away its power as an epithet. When someone calls you fat and you embrace that, your response is, and or as Marilyn Wan wrote years ago, fat. So, honestly, I have to agree. I feel like fat should just be a descriptor. I don't think people should be bullying people. I'm not into the whole fat shaming thing. Of course, they'll say I'm a fat shamer, right? Because I'll be like, "This is ridiculous. Your ideology is dumb," and yes, you can be significantly overweight and very, very unhealthy, and that's probably likely. It's just so funny to me that they're so focused on this. I mean, I do think language controls behavior, so I totally get why they're doing this. I just don't think they understand that most people were already using fat in a very neutral term to begin with, and so they're not going to be changing much by doing this. Euphemisms are valuable in that they allow us to talk about the state of someone's body without judging it, but I'm here for skewing the euphemisms in favor of directness and liberation. I long for the day that when our culture sees that fat is a non judgmental way to talk about bodies. What do you call your own body? I'm always curious about what people refer to themselves as or other people when they are trying to be kind and curious about bodies. I mean, I just say I'm fat because I am. Trying not to be fat, but I was a huge fan of chunky up there. I like that. So yeah, okay. We've learned that these are all these different ways to describe yourself as fat, but she doesn't really like them. Plus size is okay. She's okay. I think was probably thick and big. I do not think she'd be okay with hubby. It's always fun to watch these fat liberation activists use this kind of language where they'll say things like, "You don't have to say it this way or do it this way, but it'd be great if you did." And there's like this implication there, like, and if you don't do it, you're not being a good fat ally. And so I don't ever really buy into the false empathetic approach that they're using for this. I actually on this TikTok though, where this woman's reacting to all the different ways that she's been called fat and ranking them. I thought it was kind of funny. So I thought we could check it out. I turned up the volume off though, because obviously protected music, whatever. And be careful, it's flashing, okay? If you have a seizure, look away. So I can, the warning I can give you. Okay, different ways I've been called fat, rated out of 10, part 2. Wait, I can't find part 1. Sorry, guys. Boom, boom. Nice. Nice. Big Show, didn't like it. Okay. Fat Albert. Ooh, okay. And yeah, okay. So we do got that. We do got apparently, some people are taking it in stride. I mean, I don't want anyone calling me Boom Boom. Please don't. But maybe you can think up your own name for me. Yeah, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, it looks like this is a really short video. My goodness. Okay, well, I guess you'll just have to tune in tomorrow and see what else I'm doing. But yeah, tell me, what's your favorite word for fat? Put it down below. Do you guys have any cool ones that maybe she didn't list here? Some very interesting ones that I can maybe start referring to myself as. I'll maybe read them on the channel sometime. Go ahead, do it. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.